Well, if I think back to how it all began, the model that the Assembly Republicans chose to use was the one that happened, frankly, in 2016 when Democrats thought that there was Russian collusion. If you remember, in 2017, the FBI investigated. They spent all kinds of time and effort to determine really there was no Russian collusion. So I thought that's a basic model that we could utilize, where we pick somebody who's trusted, Justice Gableman. He does the investigation at the end, determines whether or not there were problems, and then we move forward. I think for most of calendar year 2021, Justice Gableman did a good job. He had investigators working with him. He went out and talked to people. He put together his interim report. He had the next one that would have occurred in the spring of this year. And for whatever reason, after that report was issued, even though he said in a letter and in the prior report and in the letter afterward that we couldn't overturn the election, for whatever reason, he felt the need to put in that interim report at the end that we could decertify, or at least we should explore it. Well, that's unconstitutional and impossible. So at that point, he kind of lost my confidence, which is why you saw after that, we took him to halftime, but it was mostly not because we continued the investigation, because we had mostly completed it. It was because we had all these lawsuits that were filed by liberal special interest groups to try to, dirty the process. So most of the money that we are spending is not on the investigation, it's on the lawsuits to defend ourselves from these liberal special interest groups. But we were very clear with Justice Gableman what the parameters were. Number one, we wanted to be an independent investigation, not political. So we didn't want him going to political rallies. We didn't want him to attend political events. We also said we wanted to try to stay out of the limelight. This is not about getting on TV or being in the news. It's about finding the truth and then eventually exposing it so that we make sure citizens have faith in our process. Well, he couldn't help himself. And at the end, he was going to rallies. He was attending political events, which clearly looked like there was a partisan tinge to the investigation. We stopped most of that. But then here we are, where he does not just attend a political event, but chooses to be involved in a very partisan way, and then lie about it, right? Because I never said we weren't serious about the investigation. And frankly, you ask any Democrat and most Republicans in the state, they think I was pretty serious in spending the money and the time and the resources that we did. So for him to lie about it, that's kind of an unforgivable situation where you trust somebody because of their integrity, and then at the end, they lie. So, that's the challenge that we face.